there's a new trailer that dropped, yesterday that everyone is talking about. It's called The Age of Disclosure. It was allegedly shot secretly over the last couple years by a gentleman named Dan Farah, who originally represented Luis Elizondo for his book deal that he had, his 60 Minutes interview, some other things. I actually spoke to Dan Farah on the phone a few years ago before I ever started vetted for my other podcast to get Lou on my show. And we had a phone call, and I'll never forget it because of some of the stuff he said. And now look where we're at. Look what he's doing. And 34 government officials on record, on camera, talking about this. And there were some bombshells just in the trailer, to be honest with you, that were kind of just at least piqued my interest. I was like, whoa, shot beautifully. That helps. Production helps. I'm sorry, but it just does. It helps with messaging. And, I, for one, am very excited. So it's premiering at South by Southwest. There was a lot of coverage in different news outlets that are pretty reputable. It's going to premiere. It's coming out. It could even get a theatrical run, which would be insane. I think that should happen.
I hope so.
I would go to the theater to see something like that over the new Marvel movie coming out, to be honest with you. I would prefer, when they used to put like Michael Moore's documentaries in theaters and stuff, like that did well. Like, put it out. People will go see this. I think more than anything, it could be a new trend, but I'm curious just to get your reaction about this trailer and this project and, kind of what you know about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad. I was really happy to see Jim Semivan in it. He has not worked on too many projects publicly, and I'm glad to see him, forward facing in a project like this. I mean, just the caliber of people that are in it and the potential people who could be in it, right? There's all types of speculation if, this whistleblower, that whistleblower that we've heard about in the background is finally going to come forward. I don't know. I mean, fingers crossed, man. I really would love to see something like that.
Okay. So you've heard that maybe some whistleblowers are going to come out in this documentary potentially? Yeah,
but not the kind, like people that are
people we haven't heard about.
No, people we have heard about, but have not I'm not saying he's like one of my wish for one of those anonymous people that are in the movie would be like Neil McCaslin, right? Like get this guy.
That is.
Oh my God. He was in the Tom DeLonge WikiLeaks, like the top science guy at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Say the name again.
Neil McCaslin, General Neil McCaslin. He's known as the General. He's the one who met Tom DeLonge in an airport.
In the diner?
Yes,
or something, and had that. I know
airport,
what you're talking about. Yeah,
it was the Cold War, and we found a life form.
Got it. That guy.
Like,
okay,
that guy fits like the bill of like, that guy is like on the program for sure, right? And he's been helping Tom and Lou in the background. I'd love to see somebody like him. I mean, again, that's what I would love to see something like that happen. I don't know if that's going to happen, but man. If there was a project where somebody like that was going to come out, like I think this would be it, right? They got Eric Davis in there. I mean,
they got everybody.
Yeah,
it's nothing like I've ever seen in this, to be honest with you.
James Clapper.
They got James Clapper. They got Jay Stratton coming out and saying what he said. Right?
Yes,
I've seen with my own eyes non-human craft and non-human beings. Right? Like that's what I was like. I honestly, I had to watch the trailer a few times because the first time I saw it I did a trailer reaction, and I'm kind of like, my mind is kind of melting after hearing that. And again, I'm very skeptical in this field, but even that got me, I was like, okay, what's happening here? This will probably be the quintessential UFO documentary.
It will be. I mean, it's just, it's going to be the powerhouse. No question.
It's the powerhouse, dude. It will be in people's top. You got the phenomena. You even have Dr. Greer's documentary that he did a few years back. Disclosure. I can't remember.
He's done a bunch of them recently.
He has done a bunch that I like, but there was one in particular that just boom.
My favorite two that he did were Unacknowledged.
That's it. The Unacknowledged one.
Unacknowledged, and then of course when he did Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind. I think those were
the Lost Century. I loved.
It was good. Yeah.
I liked that one a lot.
Yeah. And again, a lot of people bash on Greer, and I mean, you can't have a comprehensive understanding of ufology without his understanding his work, in my
Sure.
opinion.
Sure.
Again, his personality does deter a lot of people, and rightfully so, because, again, here he could easily just come out and say, I've spoken with Jake Barber. I had tried to advise him. I tried to help him in any way I can. And, he decided to do something else and work with News Nation and Ross Coulthard, and they did a great job. But he didn't say that. He said, yeah, this tabloid, this and this,
Yeah.
that's Stephen Greer. Okay. This, and that's his MO, and he's burned so many bridges. And, again, if it wasn't for that, maybe people would see him in a better light these days. But at the same time, it's that ego and that attitude of his that took him as far as it did in those early days as well. So
That's a fair point.
He wouldn't have, gotten as far as he did if he wasn't that,
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying.
Egotistical.
The same things that got him to where he's at are now potentially maybe working against him, and
Correct.
it's hard to change that, right? So, like, I get it. That's actually a great point to make. Which is, again, why I'm really looking forward to this documentary, The Age of Disclosure. It's kind of stepping into another realm, right? You're going to have what they call in this field the normies, right? Watching this, paying attention to this, sharing this. I mean, I've worked South by Southwest a lot. Back when I had my food truck, I lived in Austin 7 years. That's where I built my, food business there. And I used to work the VIP section for Showtime for a few years, where I served the food for all the VIPs for Showtime at South by. So I have a good relationship with Showtime and just with South by Southwest in general. So I know that this is going to be, honestly, it will be the talk during South by. I can already see the murmurs and the whisper because it's different. It's different. Yeah. It's something coming in. It's somebody reputable from Hollywood who has premiered movies there already, someone who has connections. And, I find it quite interesting, to be honest with you, the reception that this is going to get. I think it can make a change in a lot of ways. And the fact that they shot it in secret, granted, a lot of us knew who, covered this all the time, kind of knew this was already happening. And there were little hints dropped here and there. Even Mike Gold brought it up in the hearing. Yeah. Right. He kind of dropped a little hint in the hearing. And I had one of the executive producers, Colin Frederick, comment on my video yesterday, right, that they'd been working on this 2 years, and just really excited and happy that other people are excited for this project.
Lou mentioned it in his book in the acknowledgments.
Yeah, Lou mentioned mentioned in his book, and I even showed a clip of David Fravor and Ryan Graves at the end of Merged. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they were talking about.
It is what they were talking
about.
Right. Sure.
Yeah, and I've been saying that since that came out. Yep. I've made other videos where I hinted, I think this is it. And the one thing that I couldn't find the clip or where I heard it, but I had heard that there was this high def. I thought it was in that Merged podcast, but that there's this high def footage that's the best anyone's ever seen, supposedly is featured in this documentary. Have you heard that too?
I hope that's the case. I couldn't say where I heard something like that, but I hope that's the case.
Sure. I swear I thought it was in that, and maybe they cut it out. They weren't supposed to say that, but either way, even without it, it will be, you got one piece, right? One piece being the documentary, having, like they're stating, 34 different government officials on the record talking about this. There's just nothing like it. Right. I mean, honestly, there was quite literally nothing like this. So yeah, am I excited to see it? You're damn right I am. I really am excited to see it and see what comes out of it. What I'm a little worried about is this community is absolutely known for leaks. I've covered them on my channel too. And I'm curious how they're going to keep some of this stuff leaking out if they premiere it at South by. Now, I know at South by they can make people sign NDAs and different things, like you can't, tweet it out like what your review is of it and that kind of thing, right? But still, stuff is going to come out. People are going to say stuff. Yeah. It's just how it works. The murmurs will get out and you won't be able to control it. So I'm curious what the turnaround will be to get it out.
They did pretty well up until this point.
I mean,
right?
that's a good point. Yeah, but once you show it at South by, dude, I
Yeah,
know South by. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
how it
yeah.
works. I know that whole environment. I worked it
Hopefully, they
deeply
take
for
that into
years.
account. You know,
I think to some extent it works in its favor with the buzz, right? The
I
buzz that
think
it
so.
creates.
And
And Dan
maybe
Farah's got
that's
to
part
know
of the
that.
strategy as well, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you also show it at South by to get distribution, right? You may be working with some other things, but you're looking to close some deals essentially to premiere it there. Not always, but essentially there's something to work out. So I'm curious what the turnaround will be to actually get it out to the public after that, to make sure some of the bigger points that are featured in it don't get out. But even if it did, it would really be relegated to just the UFO community. And this film is
Mostly,
absolutely
yeah.
for everybody.
Everyone.
So I don't think it would hurt it, honestly, either way. But yeah, man,